Hello and welcome to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. I'm Gary Morgan. With me, as always, my good friend Jim Stam. How you doing, brother?
Dude, I'm doing good. Excuse me. I want to keep it positive today because Pirates, they make it tough on us. But I saw today that the Pirates are still mathematically alive for the playoffs. So let's keep it positive, right? I mean, it's 0.1% chance, but I wanted to start things off positively. So there we go.
That sounds like the betting odds for Tommy Pham hitting a home run today. So, hey, welcoming back to the show our good friend, James Littleton. I made the mistake of saying old friend last time, and he took a bunch of ridicule for it. So let's just go good friend, James Littleton. Welcome back, brother.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me again.
He's in the middle of rain country over there in West Virginia. He's taking it head on down there in the good old state, huh?
Yeah, we had a rough week, but it's supposed to be in the 90s this week, so hopefully some stuff gets dried out.
A
lot of people lost their homes.
I don't think we've had a dry weekend yet, for God's sake.
James, you look like you're in your basement. Is that correct?
I am.
So at least you didn't have any water, but yeah, it's been like, man, that was like crazy to see all that.
Yeah, they said 6 inches in 30 minutes. So
jeez,
it's crazy.
Man, there's a joke to be had in there, but let's just move right on.
So how many times can you be like sitting around smiling after your team just lost 9-2, right? My team lost 9-2 today in the first game against Tarek Skubal in this doubleheader, and they're currently up 4-2. I'd say by the time we're almost done recording, or even before, hopefully, we will have this victory in the bag for Paul Skeens, right? What did you think, of the doubleheader? Pretty much as we expected pitching-wise, except I don't think either Tarek Skubal or Paul Skeens had their best stuff today.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead, James. You're the guest.
I think you both mentioned that both teams lost an opportunity to have both their young studs face off against each other, and I think that would have been can't miss baseball. Even if with both of them not having their best stuff, I think that would have been an appropriate way to handle this doubleheader.
Yeah, I would agree, Jim. What did you think of that aspect of it too? After you talk about the performances, if you want.
Well, no, I think it's an interesting topic about whether they should have faced off or not. Sure, from a fan's perspective, yeah, you'd love to see it. It's the Skeens versus Ohtani, but just total pitching, right? So, but I get it why the teams don't want to do that. You want to lock in your starter for the other game and try to guarantee a split, right? Right. You don't want to mitigate and minimize those chances when you throw them out there together. So I get it from the fans' perspective and just wanting to watch fun baseball. But if you're the team, especially the Tigers, things mean something to them right now. They're going to go for every win they can. Can't always say that about the Pirates. So
yeah, I get it from that perspective. I can't argue. There's many decisions that get made by the managers that we would very much so be upset that they weren't trying to win or not caring enough about that game, right? And I guess to argue against them separating those two pitchers is probably to argue against that thought process a bit. You're not rooting for them to win every single game if that's what you're doing. Then again, I could argue that if you want any chance to sweep the doubleheader, which a team in the position of the Pirates would be, you would want your ace going against their ace because the scoring is going to be at a premium. And lo and behold, they scored a couple runs against Tarek Skubal, which many times is enough with Paul Skeens. I don't know. I could argue either side of this coin if I really wanted to.
Yeah, I think I heard something earlier in the broadcast where Scooball was the one that said he preferred to keep the early start. Um, if I heard that correctly, I was a little busy trying to hear things off to the side. So pitchers have say in that too. And this was the question I was curious about. Like clearly the Tigers in the division, they're 10 games up, best record in baseball. But how is it working right now with the postseason as far as does the best record guarantee you anything? For the playoffs, like for home field advantage, or how is that working now? Because I'm just thinking for the Tigers, you're probably trying to win every game, but I didn't know if that had anything to do with it either, as far as how
I
that.
mean, gets you home field for sure.
Yeah.
So
So
I guess I don't know if we're to the point of the season where people are starting to jockey for position per se. You know what I mean? I would think this was more this weekend in Detroit about trying to make sure that Scooble wasn't going to have his outing shortened by rain. I felt like postponing it real early when they did on the other night kind of created what happened today, the opportunity that we had for those two to face each other. I don't know, James, like I understand all that stuff and everything. Do teams in sports owe the sport anything? Like we say that a lot. Like,
great question.
man, we should have seen this. They should have given us that matchup. They should have done this. Do the teams individually owe the sport that they represent things like that?
I think it depends on the team. I mean, look, the Tigers are going to probably go to the playoffs. But the Pirates could have given their fans this. I mean, we're not going to see the playoffs this year. We're not going to see much good happen this year, but this is something that we could have. Hey, we threw our best against their best, and maybe you come out with a win and we can say our guy's better than their guy for a game.
Yeah, I hear that. Jim, what do you think of that? Because
I think
it's an interesting question to think about, right?
No, it really is. Like, I know the NBA struggles with this stuff, right?
Right. They do
a good
the
bit.
sitting on the road for guys sometimes.
Load management.
Right.
Yeah. What do you as a team
The NHL
owe the league?
The NHL certainly misses their opportunities a ton. NFL probably does it about as good as you can, right? Like they try to manipulate the schedule to make sure the games matter. They don't want stuff at the end not to matter.
There's only 17 games, so every decision is crucial. It's not like you're resting people for no reason.
Right. Right. So they seem to do the best job at it. Baseball's a little different. 162 games. Teams are worried about things a little differently. So, yeah, they probably do owe it to an extent, but I don't think managers give two craps about it, and they probably shouldn't.
I think that's probably true. So we should probably lay out what we're going to do in this show today, because we got a pretty cool poll question we're going to talk about, and Call Your Shot's going to come out of that poll question because we got some really great comments. And Taylor's on vacation in Disney World, and he literally asked me to try to do an impression of him, which I'm not sure I'm going to be able to bring myself to do when we do Call Your Shot, but I'll think about it at least until we get to that point.
You certainly aren't as tan as Taylor. So right there's going to be anybody.
There's a lot of things I'm not as much as Taylor. I get it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to be able to pull it off, but we'll give it our best shot, and I'll be picking the winner this week with his input. He's had some decision making on the back end while he was waiting in line at Space Mountain or whatever. So there's that going on. We're also going to, all three of us, take a crack at putting this team back on track for 2026 without spending a lot of money. It's going to be a fun little premise. We're all going to take a crack at how we would be a GM with this miser of an owner.
Wait a second. You're telling me, as Pirate fans, we can't spend money? How are we possibly going to do this exercise?
Well, I know that you had your eyes set on every single big free agent that was available this offseason
Big
because
time.
surely they've learned their lesson, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Right. So I thought it'd be fun. Like, hey, let's just take that premise. Let's make it hard. Let's see how difficult it is. Let's see what we could actually think about getting accomplished with the pieces we have on this team. It'll be fun. I'm sure it's going to lead to endless ridicule for all three of us. But that's half the fun.
We're used to it.
Right. So we owe a break. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's get right into Call Your Shot because I think that's going to start us down something that is probably going to wind up in most of our proposals anyway. So here we go.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
All right, welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports. Doug says, he's sure Littleton will relish his opportunity. I am too. It's going to be great. There's a reason that James is here this week because he's always good at outlining his vision. So, and I also should say, hail to Pitt. Isaac Mattson just gave up his first base hit as a Pittsburgh Pirate, finally. So he's been unhittable, Jim.
He was on a roll. Good for that dude.
Yeah, for real. So Call Your Shot tonight is based on the poll question. I should probably play the little thing and give my little spiel, shall I? Let's do this old school Call Your Shot. All right, Call Your Shot is brought to you by our friends and good friend Taylor over at Shop Yins. Got brand new merch up there, including my Paul Skeens shirt that I'm wearing today so proudly in honor of him pitching. Make sure you head over to shopyins.com and check it out. They got a ton of new stuff. If you're looking for something different, that you can't just find at the mall or at the shoe store or wherever they're selling all kinds of Pittsburgh gear. If you want something different, head over to shopyins.com. The poll question this week, real simple, Jim. If the Pirates trade Mitch Keller, do you want immediate MLB help, a bulk of solid prospects, don't trade him, or don't care? Okay? I put don't care in there because, honestly, I think a lot of people vote in these things that don't care, and I thought maybe that would actually make the other numbers more true. And 8.1% chose don't care. They cared enough to vote and say I don't care, which is hilarious to me. So,
yeah, I'm sitting here debating about what at the end of the show. I'm going to mention something about the don't care.
Eric just does the face slap emoji. I love it. It's so true. It's so true. And the game is tied now. By the way, I was just praising Mr. Mattson, and look what happened. Now it's 4-4. No victory for Mr. Skeens.
At the end of the show, I will talk about the don't care and something I've noticed lately. So we'll get back to that part of it.
I'll try to remember to remind you.
Yeah, no, I think it's an interesting observation.
Well, somebody voted don't care and actually commented, this is not the winner, so I'm not ruining anything. I'm at the point where I just don't give a F. And I thought to myself, not only did you vote, but you actually typed to me that you don't care.
That's how strongly he feels about not giving a F.
It makes me laugh so hard. It really does. So anyways, don't trade him. Got 17.8%. Bulk of solid prospects got 16.2. That's very close. By the lion's share, though, was immediate MLB help, 57.9%. I think that's probably where most people land. That tells me a couple things, guys. It tells me the willingness to consider trading Mitch Keller is there. I think people are understanding where we're at, and I don't think they're claiming it's a dump. Before we get into like reading the comment that actually won this gift card and or call your shot shirt from our friends at shopians.com, I just want to ask you guys, do you think the fact that even though we've discussed that this is not his fault, the fact that he's 1-9, do you think that influences people being okay with moving him? If he was 9-1 with the exact same stats, do you think people would be way against moving him?
Damn, Gary, the questions tonight. These are good, dude. Good job.
Listen, they're improving CBD all the time. Who knows what it's doing to my head? Okay,
James, they're so good. James is getting choked up.
James is dying.
James, go. You go, bud.
I would hope that an intelligent baseball fan would be able to tell the difference between the two being the same. A lot of things are out of his control. He can't go up there and hit. He could probably hit better than some of the people we send to the plate, but spending as much time as I do on X, thanks to Jim Stam.
You're welcome, sir.
Baseball fans aren't that intelligent. So there's probably about 75% of the fans who see 1-9 and say he's trash.
I mean, because the other side of the argument, Jim, is if he were 9-1 instead, they're likely doing a lot better. So maybe you're probably not considering this at all, right? You know, like there's two sides to that coin if you want to keep flipping the question on its ass.
Yeah, well, right. Like, how would he be 9-1 with the way this offense performs? Like, that would be an incredible run of luck. Which he at this point he's seen enough losses, so maybe he deserves it. The other side to it would be, would some people be like, "Man, you got to trade him. His value would never be higher." You know, 9-1.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
look into that part of it, right? When it really doesn't matter, like teams aren't looking at that. But yeah, you know, is kind of factual and logical as I try to look at things. It would be sexy to see 9-1 and his numbers, you know, not that great, but it would give me a little bit of more assurance with it. That being said, just the reality of where the Pirates are and where they choose to be in some aspects, I just look at it like, man, that salary, and you do have pitching coming. I don't know how you don't try to move it and try to get. I wouldn't go the bulk of prospects route because I think we tried that with Garrett Cole to a miserable, you know, to miserable results.
Now, see, maybe this is where I should have clarified a little bit, because you're right when you say that. Everybody they got back was a prospect. You're absolutely right.
They went quantity over quality.
But they were supposedly a bulk of MLB-ready prospects. 3 of those guys were supposed to be ready to step right in. Colin Moran, Joe Musgrove, and they expected that other Martin kid they got back to the outfielder was supposed to be good like right away, and then he never made it. Real fast kid.
Yeah,
can't remember his name.
And Musgrove turned out to be very, very good.
Sure, he did. Sure.
So maybe not the best example, but I think the spirit of what I'm saying is I think does translate. I would look for somebody that's major league ready, and if it's only 1 or 2 guys, go that route, because I don't think you're going to get anybody off the major league team. I just feel like the salary has got to be moved simply because of who and what the Pirates are.
We got a great comment from Douglas Smith in here that is a conversation point all in and of itself, and I love it. I'm going to star it, Douglas. I promise we're going to circle back to it. I just don't want to derail our conversation about the poll question here. And I've gotten permission from Taylor to give 2 prizes this week, so I'm going to do that.
Damn.
There's 2 winners.
Disney World must be awesome.
2 winners this week. Taylor says, as soon as Jim's firework coughs are done, my goodness, you hear what it does to everything.
Hey, not me, James.
Sorry.
Oh, yes, James. Yeah, you're not sick for once. What am I doing to you, Jim?
Yeah, I'm healthy. Well,
all right,
not
so
really, but
Taylor says, I think there is a lot of benefit to trading him if you can get a young MLB ready bat back as a headliner. That's a big if. Another obvious concern is trusting Ben Cherington. A scenario where they add to the major league lineup while also shedding $15 million to spend on more bats is appealing. What's very well said, for one thing. I mean, my first thought when I read that comment was that's almost exactly how I feel about the whole thing. I think that's the target. I think that's the way to describe it. I think here's the beauty of this situation. If you don't find it, like if it's not there, you can afford to be choosy. You don't have to trade Mitch Keller. You certainly don't have to do it at this deadline. I'm just suggesting like it's somebody that you could move that I think would bring back something like what Taylor described there. So James,
yeah,
or Jim, how about it?
No, I was just gonna say, like, if you know there's rumblings of it being the seller's market, I think you do try to capitalize on that if it's there. You know, pitching's always going to be needed around baseball. But yeah, if it's not there where you need it to be, and Cherington, that's the big question here too, right, guys? What's going on with Ben Cherington? Like,
I don't know, but here's
here?
a conversation I'm getting tired of. I don't trust Ben Cherington, but we got to make trades. You have to do something to move forward, and he's who's here. I'm done with it. Okay, I want him fired. Yeah. I've said I want him fired. I get it. I don't trust him either. They're not even letting him do his own freaking interview anymore with his hometown voices. Sanders has done the last 2. Maybe what I'm saying is moved on, and he's just a figurehead already.
Yeah, probably. I guess I'm just saying, like, if you knew, then maybe it would sway you one way or the other. But I would still try like heck to do it now. You know, when the trade deadline comes up.
Right. It's like, I guess what I'm saying is like, haven't we expressed our discomfort with this GM already? Yes. I think we've all explained it in full. We want him gone. We don't think he's doing a good job. I can't make them fire him, and I'm not going to say like, okay, let's just walk around with a limp dick for the next 5 years because you won't fire him. No. Go order some dick pills and get things going. I don't care how you do it. The team has to get its arrow pointed in a different direction, whether they decide to grow up and move on from this general manager or not. I think we as fans can propose intelligent ways they could go one way or another, right? That's all I'm saying. I do get frustrated about it, like, because it should be decided by now if they're going to do it, and they haven't decided it. You know, it can't be more obvious that he's a lame duck. James, doesn't it get frustrating? How do you even discuss anything that you want done with this team when it feels so unsteady?
I don't know how the next couple of months or next month and a half are going to be handled when you have a guy that you know is going to be gone at the end of the season, or we hope or we think is going to be gone. I think most of us think that's probably going to happen. But I mean, he is here. I mean, I don't know if they're going to have somebody saying, hey, this is who you're going to pick. This is who you're going to trade. Everything's got to be cleared through this guy. But yeah, it's very unsteady. And for a lot of fans, it's frightening that they're going to allow the next month and a half to be dealt with by Ben.
Let's flip it on its head. Our assumption is we want to get that he's a lame duck and we want him to go and we don't trust him, right?
I assume.
That's our assumption.
I don't think they can keep him. I really don't.
It's our assumption, and all the rumblings that I think everyone's heard is that he's on thin ice. Jim, does that sound right to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think
100%.
we're all on that page, and that's where we're all at. What if the message that he's working with is he has to deliver the end of this season? He's got to get to a certain point. I don't know what that is. Let's claim that he said it's 500 from the time he fired Shelton to the end of the season. Let's say that he was given some kind of goal like that. Prove it was just the coach. Get to 500. Show me you're close. Okay. What would that do to this trade deadline? Because what would be his incentive to do what's best for the club, which is moving all those 1-year contracts, if it's going to openly screw him out of an opportunity to keep his job another year?
Well, hopefully they're not stupid enough to make that be the qualifications of keeping your job at this point, because as much as we don't want to see them lose X number of games or whatever, man, you got to be looking toward next year. You have to. And you're going to have to move some of these pieces at the deadline, like some of them for sure. You know, we can debate the Mitch Keller thing all day long, but we can probably list a few names that we know they have to move them. It'd be the right time to do it. So, yeah, I think this is the problem too, is like, it puts everybody in a gray area, right? You're in this like nebulous type situation where you don't know what the next step is or what it should be. And I would just love that. That's why I would prefer just tear the Band-Aid off. Yeah. And even if it's just an interim thing until you get the guy in place that you want. But I would just do that. And well, what does Clark Griswold say in Christmas Vacation? How much worse can it get? We're at the threshold of hell. You know what I mean? Like just who cares at this point, in the sense of it can't get any worse, much worse. So just do it. Get a plan in place. You know, everyone can debate whether that plan would be worth a damn, but get it in place and then act off of that. That's what I would do.
That's exactly, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, why pretend there's any kind of a chance here if there isn't? And that's why my brain goes back to the side of like, well, maybe there is. I mean, if the owner's already made his decision on a GM, then the decision's made. Do you get what I mean? Like, they're not going to change their mind no matter what happens the rest of this year. I don't care who starts hitting or who starts pitching. You get what I mean? So why drag it through the season any longer? Like, why would you, if you think he's incompetent, then you pull the trigger. Even Bob would do that, I would think, right? I mean, there's decorum there, I'm sure, but he doesn't like to do it, maybe. He hasn't done it before. But he's never fired a coach this early either. You know, I'm just saying, move on if it's that bad. If not, I'm going to be thinking to myself, you at least trust him a little. You know, you at least gave him a little leash. And I don't know how to move forward as a fan. We try to talk about these things, the proposals we're going to have later in the show. I could stamp them all out right now with "We don't trust Ben Cherington." It's just a chess piece at this point. Nameless, faceless, gray thing. Maybe it's best to discuss everything through a prism of, if they fired them and hired smart people, what would, and then we move into the conversation, because I just feel like it stops everything in its tracks. And I think other teams approach us like we're a bunch of morons because I think most of the deals that we make have been simplistic or overly complicated for no reason. Like there was no reason to make that Spencer Horwitz thing into some 3-team deal. That could have just been a straight transaction you never talked about, like ever having anything to do with the other team.
Right.
But it had to be. Even how they got Andy Rodriguez, this complicated 3-team swap of mostly players that aren't good enough in the first place to be part of that big of a swap. Just a weird person. His trades are weird. He only goes to teams that he absolutely knows.
Well, and then when they say they listen, sometimes it's ridiculous, like the asking price, where I get that in principle, but come on now, like it has to be somewhere within the land of reasonableness. Yeah, and if Bob Nutting has had the thought once or twice that is Ben Sherrington worth keeping on, then I think you have your answer at this point. If you're starting to have those thoughts, and I can't believe he's not, as ridiculously patient as Bob Nutting seems to be, I can't believe he hasn't thought that. And if you're thinking that in year whatever, just do it, man.
I would think he probably feels the same way about Williams, wouldn't you, James? I mean, like he's been pretty awful too.
Yeah, this whole from the top down, this whole season has been a mess. I mean, from the beginning of the season, I mean, just lies about the bricks. I mean, that was mishandled. I mean, this whole season's just been a travesty.
Maybe
travesty. I see what you did there.
Maybe if we put Ben in charge of pretzels and Travis in charge of trades, you see where, let's get nuts, guys. Let's get crazy.
I'll tell you what, I would put your son in charge of pretzels over Travis. I really would. So,
it's about all he eats, Gary. So he's actually kind of a connoisseur in this department.
I love it, man. Hey, we got one more winner here, and it's our old friend, Voice from the Graves. And she says, I'm only trading Keller if most or all of the return is MLB impact ready. The Pirates cannot develop hitters. Use your assets to go buy some help. And I picked this one specifically because I think the point about their struggles with development is part of my insistence that they bring back not somebody that is perceived as a major league ready bat, but somebody that has already been hitting in the major leagues. Not unlike Spencer Horwitz, and I understand you're not happy with his performance right now, but be patient. I'm just saying, like, that's the type of player that this team needs to bring back if this thing is actually going to work. So I like that caveat she added to it. Thoughts?
I agree with her 100%. I think the only way I would do it is if it is somebody that is just so highly ranked in someone's system and so close that you feel you are getting a 90-some% finished product that has the potential to be already an impact hitter by the time he steps foot. That would have to be like the only caveat that I would add to it. Like, because I think we talk about this all the time, Gary, which is trying to find that exact match on an MLB roster is tough. I wouldn't want to not give myself a chance to get a guy. The only guy that comes up right now, and is because I know there's plenty of people to pay way more attention to prospects and whatnot, but it's like the Kobe Mayo types where I feel like, man, that's a good swing.
Well, see, but that's kind of what I think I'm talking about. And Graves was talking about. He's been in the major leagues. He's been exposed to the major leagues a little bit. He's actually right now just starting to stick in the major leagues to a degree. So I think that's right in line with what I'm talking about. Just a little bit of experience, a little bit of proof that it's going to pay off, a little bit of proof that most of the work is done. Because this team worked their ass off to make Mitch Keller what he is. They did. You can say whatever you want, but they worked their ass off to turn him into a pitcher that deserved a contract. And now that he is, I think that we probably should be getting some of that work recouped on the other end. I think major league talent has to come back. Period. To me.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I wasn't saying like there's a comment, about what you're getting back for Keller. I'm not talking like one for ones here. Like I'm just mentioning like as the centerpiece, right?
Yeah.
So, but those are the types of guys. I guess for me, like, yeah, Mayo fits that. Yeah, I did not realize he now has 51 plate appearances actually now playing at the major league level. So yeah, that would fit the box. Check the box.
Yeah, it's just I think it's what we talked about last year with Wilder Abreu and whatnot. Now he's got way more than that. And James, I feel like we're starting to leak into some of our proposals for how we're going to fix this team now. So we should probably stop talking about this. But one thing I wanted to discuss from the doubleheader that I didn't get to was just an interesting exchange because I talked about Paul Skeens getting angry at the umpire real bad for like missing a bunch of calls and everything. There was a situation on the field too, and he was taking it out on a different umpire, but he was mad at the home plate umpire. Terrible, terrible calls, and the other pitchers getting them and everything. I just thought of something that struck me today, like because Donnie Kelly was so furious in that dugout. He was staring daggers through this rookie umpire, screaming "do better" at him and stuff, right? It just dawned on me today. It's not like the old days where they used to just guess about what they were seeing. Now they're back there looking on monitors at whether they're actually strikes or balls. And like when they really legitimately are missing, is that why we're seeing more blow-ups like that now? Like from on umpires about balls and strikes? That never used to be a thing. That was the one thing you didn't argue.
Yeah, I think it is because they're so in tune with the video now. They've got somebody in the clubhouse and they'll yell out that that was not a strike or it was a strike. And one of my favorite things to do to kill time at work is to watch on YouTube Close Call Sports. I don't know if you ever watch it and watch all the ejections and the breakdown and why they were ejected and the rulings and stuff like that. And that's what a lot of it is. It's just somebody's telling them in the dugout that the umpire's blowing calls. And I think next year can't get here soon enough with the ABS.
Well, James, I think you just hit on it right there. I think people know it's coming and they're already in their mindset.
I think there's been at least 2 ejections this year where a players tap their helmet.
They're already there in their minds, right? Like we know it's coming. They know it's coming. And so you are already thinking in those terms. And I think technology, what it's done is it's almost given everybody like this zero tolerance, right? For any type of mistakes. And
it's turned every play in baseball into the moment where Cower ran out on the field and shoved the picture of the play call in the ump's pocket.
Yeah. That was against the Minnesota Vikings. So yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Gary. I don't follow Steelers too closely. No, I remember that like it was yesterday. But no, and let me ask. Look, I know we got more show to do, but like this is why I love these conversations because it makes us think about like other things. Let's talk about. Guys, today in the game, Skeens got hosed, right? We know this. It was 3 or 4. They were strikes. They did not get called. For the longest time in baseball, great pitchers got calls. So it's not necessarily those pitches we're talking about, but like they would get those 1 to 2 inches off the plate. Do you guys think that great pitchers deserve that, as opposed to other pitchers? And see, I'm trying to come up with good questions too, Gary. It's not just you tonight, buddy. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Do great pitchers deserve that? And has Paul Skeens already earned that? If you say yes.
Yes and no. They don't deserve it from the get-go, but they deserve to earn it as the game goes on, like they always do. Like Greg Maddux used to squeak the edge of that played out.
Tom
as
Glavine.
The game went on. Tom
Glavine was a worse offender. He would just sit
Absolutely.
3 inches off the plate.
If you gave him 3, then he would go 4 to see if he could get that. And that's what I was going to say. I think if you can spot your pitches like those guys, but these guys nowadays, they don't do that. They're just rearing back and throwing as hard as they can. They may hit their spot every once in a while, but I mean, Maddux could hit his spot, I bet you 90% of the time where he wanted to throw the ball. So that's why the umpire, I think, would give them that, because, well, if he's throwing it there, it must be a strike. Whereas, I mean, you don't see that a lot from these guys nowadays. It's all about how fast can I throw it, not can I put it where I want.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I really dig it, and I love having these conversations. Let's go ahead and take our quick break, come back, and let's do our silly proposals, because 20 minutes might be enough of listening to that, huh?
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
All right, welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports. I can already see our brewing topic next week is going to be Oneil Cruz continuing to strike out in huge opportunity situations. And anyways, we'll move on to how we're going to fix this team, supposedly, right? I worked on mine a decent amount, Jim, if you want me to start, but I don't think we need to go over the premise again. We're going to try to fix this team with what we have, swapping parts around, calling things up, hiring free agents, whatever it is. James keeps smiling like he's talking about executing some people.
He does look like he's about to put somebody to death.
Well, James has got himself muted right now. You got to unmute yourself,
I did.
James.
I'm going to get ridiculed, and I'm ready for it. But I think I have.
James,
I think
by us or people that
no,
listen?
Everybody.
Okay.
Every Pirates fan out
wanted
there.
to clarify.
I don't know if we should start with it or go last. I don't know how.
I want mine first. Because I'm hoping that by the time you guys are done, everybody will have forgotten about mine.
You go after it, James.
Okay.
Mr. Littleton has the floor. Fix the Pirates and get them back on track for 2026.
So the premise that I was given was I was allowed to add $20 million to payroll.
Yep.
So the first thing I did was I cut salary. I traded Keller for the best package available. Minor league, major league ready did not matter to me. The best package, quality over quantity. I want the best I can get. As much as I love him, I traded Bednar.
All right.
I re-signed Kutch to 1 year, $5 million, which I think is going to happen. And I re-signed Frazier because I think he can super sub around. So with all my savings, I came out and all the free agents are gone. IKF, everybody's gone. Haney. So I came up, I had $66 million to spend.
All right.
So this is going to be my lineup on opening day.
Oh boy.
Kutch is leading off and DH. Reynolds, after he's had a vasectomy, is going to be left field. Now, I'm also going to say my team is going to strike out a lot. So I'm going to have Cruz in center at third.
You have
And,
Pete Incaviglia hitting cleanup right now.
Eugenio Suarez at third base, because I've also traded Ke'Bryan Hayes for whatever I can get for him.
Oh, wow. All right.
Batting fifth, Kyle Schwarber. I think I can get both those players for the amount of money I've got saved. I've got Spencer Horwitz at first. I've got Nicky G. I've got Barton Davis. And then in the 9 spot as my starting shortstop, I'm fast tracking Connor Griffin.
Okay.
He's going to be my starting shortstop.
I don't
then
think I'm going to ridicule you as much as you think, Jim.
My bench is
James, I think that's
Triolo,
pretty good.
Triolo, Frazier, either Bart or Davis, whoever's not starting, and then an outfield sub, Canario or Sawinski, whoever. And then my starting staff is Skeens. I'm keeping Falter. Then you got Burrows, Ashcraft, and whoever else they've got down there can throw in the 5 spot.
You don't think that you would need
A Haney type. I've got a Haney type.
Okay. I was going to say the premise of this was that we were going to discuss it a little bit, so I just wanted to kind of like.
I also have a
come
Haney
back at
type,
you
and
with-
then my
with
bullpen is a mix and match.
Okay, I think that's got some promise, Jim. What do you think?
Yeah, James. Here's what I will say. The biggest thing I take issue with is I just man, you will not find a bigger Connor Griffin fan than me or my son at this point. I think they're sitting on something really, really special with this kid. And I just think no matter how fast he moves through, that's just too rich for my blood. So that would be the biggest thing I take issue with, as much as I'd love to see it. That's the only thing I would say is, and I think his dad even said something on X today about I don't know what the post was because it got deleted, but it was pump the brakes and let him develop. And so and his dad knows ball. So we're not talking about Ke'Bryan Hayes' brother here. Yeah, I just went.
Yeah, right.
So that's all I would say is man, fast track him, but don't get crazy.
I agonized over the shortstop position.
Okay,
because
I have an answer for that when I go, but
okay.
I'm not going
yet. If I didn't think he was a super special talent, I wouldn't have even brought it up. I would have just said, we'll throw somebody out there to play short.
No, I get where you're going with it.
I think he's going to be that special because he's not even been really challenged yet. I mean,
I dig it too, actually, and I hear everything about letting him develop and everything, and I believe that to be their intention. I also believe they have no intention of holding any of them back. I think there's an understanding that the AAA and AA levels are not where they need to be. And as those younger players develop, I think there's not going to be a whole lot of false holding them back. I think we're going to see them allowed to move. And I'm going to trust what my eyes and the talent are telling me. If Connor is overmatching Greensboro for a month or two here, like he was doing in Bradenton, I see no reason not to move him to Altoona. And the only reason I say that is because just because somebody wasn't thought by the national media to be Bryce Harper at draft time, this kid took it upon himself to go into the shop and deconstruct his swing before he faced any of the adversity he knew he was going to face in the majors for some of the things that he got away with in high school. We heard him articulate that. We heard his dad articulate it. And he has not struggled largely because of it at these lower levels. I think he might be Altoona ready, if only because he pre-developed himself to be Altoona ready. And I don't think that could be rushing him.
No qualms about that. I think I would push it earlier rather than later, in the sense of like, then when he gets there, give him the time.
Yeah.
I just think that like that timetable is, oh boy, man, when you start talking about like the names of guys that were ready at that point, like look at the names, and can he be that? Maybe. But I just would want to handle him with kid gloves and make him force me to do it. That's all.
That's also why I put him in the 9 spot to start, because I really wanted to put him in leadoff, but I don't want to do that to the kid. So.
I think I like where you're going with it, James, and I think our only contention is like this damn logic of ours that it's really fast for a teenager. I agree. But I think once he gets to Altoona, and the more I think about it, the more I think that is going to happen this year. I really mean that. Once you're in Altoona, we know this team considers that a step away if it has to be. And I see no reason to like put on him, hey, this kid's going to get punched in the mouth here until I see him get punched in the mouth. I mean, he right now is doing things that we were reveling about with players like Bryce Harper. Just because you weren't that. Mike Trout flew too because he was a misidentified selection at the time and went way later in the draft and then flew. It's possible, even for this team, even for this blind squirrel, to find a nut.
Right. And I think to your point there, Gary, is like he gets the Double-A, and if he slows down a little bit or, has a little bit of trouble adjusting, then that's totally fine. It's not gonna kill him. It's not like putting him in the majors and he just gets wiped out. And we already saw him in spring training that he really didn't look like he didn't belong. Now, granted, that's in a very little,
right.
little infinitesimal slice, but like you can't look past the tools and the ability.
Our show is undefeated. We have again caused rain. Jim. We did not cancel our show, and they're officially in a rain delay. We've done it again. I can't believe it.
Are the Pirates back home tomorrow?
Yes.
All right.
It's the Brewers.
All right.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
They're going to get in late.
Right. And, shoot. Man, there's a lot of great comments tonight, but we packed this show. Jim, you need to go ahead and tell us your plan for righting the ship for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay. Well, we alluded to some of this stuff earlier, so slightly repeating myself, but this is where I'm at. The first thing I do, and I do it today, is I fire Ben Sherrington. I rip that Band-Aid completely off, do the interim thing. I don't think it can get any worse. Then you can talk about, well, do you want to move big pieces or small pieces? Here's what I would do. I would trade Bednar at this deadline. I would. Mm-hmm. I think they're very fortunate to get him back to the point where he is an actual movable, sellable piece that someone would actually extend themselves a little bit for, and you're back to getting near high value for him. I think, like, so to me, you magically got back to this spot with him. I would do it, and I would not wait for the money that would cost in arbitration. And I think there's always going to be a point where it doesn't end well for him. And I don't want that to be in Pittsburgh. So that's why I'm 100% on Bednar at the trade deadline for a team that needs a back end dude. 100%.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. Honestly, I can't. It's all sound, and the only part that I'm going to differ with is that I didn't need to include the fire Ben Sherrington. Again, I've already said it a billion freaking times. I get it. Sell the team too while we're at it, and all the other things. Like, I'm on board with it all. That's all. I get it. That's
but
all.
I don't want it to happen at the end of the year. I want it to happen today.
I get it. I think there's some things that at the deadline that might be harder to acquire. Like, I have a very firm demand for major league talent in return. And that is going to make me think twice at the deadline, because I think major league talent in return at the deadline is really hard to pry loose.
Super.
I don't want to. I think at this point you're trying to be on the rise. This isn't like 2021 when we had like Quintana, or was it 2022? I can't remember. But we had Quintana for sale and we sold him off to the Cardinals. I don't want to do that anymore. Not now. Not where I'm trying to get in this division, right? So, like, even if I find a good match with, say, the Cubs, no, I'm not doing it. You know, I don't want to help them anymore. Now it's time to, like, play by those old school rules, stuff like that. But the deadline might be a challenge just because you'd have to find another team that kind of thinks they're close to being in it and isn't. Like the Red Sox or Baltimore or even the A's to a degree. They probably think they're pretty close to being relevant in that division. And they've got a lot of nice young pieces that are available, but maybe not enough on the pitching end, or you might be able to work something there. And there's a sneaker team that struggles to sign free agents too. So maybe if you offer them a contracted guy, that might be something worth thinking about prying youth from. That's the kind of teams I think you might be able to find major league talent from, but they're few and far between. So I guess I just don't want to be unwilling to push those bigger deals to the off season, if only because I think you'll find more dancing partners.
Probably could. I just think that there are a couple teams that right now come to mind that I can think of that really could use a closer. The Phillies, for one, you know, like what can you do there? And I'd like to strike while the iron's hot with Bednar. So we know the volatility of that clearly with him, let alone others. Let me get to the other parts of this, so then we can make sure we get everybody in here. The other part is I'm clearing salary. It's got to be Mitch Keller, and it's got to be Bednar, and it's got to be Brian Hayes. Even if with the Brian Hayes one, you have to eat it, the majority of it. I'm just that's $30 million that I don't think this team has and can't afford to spend on guys like this. Keller, I think, is debatable. The last one's it's going to surprise you because I was so hard on him earlier in the year. But due to the deficiencies on this team and in this organization, I would re-sign IKF. I'd re-sign him. I'd move him to second. I would put Gonzalez at short. If there was any other way to do it, I probably would, but I think it's the simplest way, and I would hold on to IKF. I just think that, like, there's some versatility there, but I wouldn't keep him at short. That's the only part of it, is like it's got to be a move to second, and then I would let Nick Gonzalez handle shortstop. That's where I'm at.
Wow, somebody thought you were going to say Pham.
No, Martin. I've been known to do some crazy suggestions. That would not be one of them.
I love it. James, you got any comments on Jim's proposal?
No, I mean, the Keller, Bednar, Key Bryan. I mean, I would even go so far as to send a prospect with Key Bryan for a player to be named. I really don't care. I just want him gone. I mean, I know it's only $7 million, but that's $7 million I can use somewhere else for a guy who can hit better, at least.
Well, I mean, you know, it's like having a station wagon and you're putting $12,000 rims on it when it comes to like defense, right? Like I just think that like it's too big of a luxury for a team like the Pirates to afford when it always comes down to money.
I mean, even if I wasn't going to get Suarez in my plan, I would still get rid of Key Bryan and throw Triolo there. I mean, Triolo can hit just as well and almost field just as well, and for a lot less money. So
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about that one last week, and I mean, I don't know. I know Brian Hayes, the way he's hitting right now, it's not about the money for me. Again, I think his contract's fine. It's not killing anything. It's just the bat is just a dead end in the lineup right now. It just doesn't even advance anything. Even when he gets hits, they're they're just very rarely timely hits. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like we could do better. Like I almost feel like you could have Nick York and Nick Gonzalez, some combination of third base and second base between the two of them. They could both play both of those positions. And I think you up your offense at least a little bit. And if the glove suffers, man, is it really enough? I really
Right.
mean that. Like
That's what it comes down to.
when you're talking about a team with a run differential that's probably going to touch 75 or 80 by the end of this season, are we really saying that it's worth having no offense whatsoever for 5 or 6 defensive runs saved? I don't know. I don't know if I can keep justifying that. That said, it's my turn to make a proposal, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
So
Make us forget about James. No, I'm kidding, James. It was fine. It was fine.
okay, well, after we fire everybody, as everybody has to say, as the prerequisite reading for any discussion on the Pirates, we're going to fire everybody under the sun. Here's my move, though. My big move. I would package Keller and Bednar together. Bednar has the next year with arbitration. Keller, obviously, the next 4 years. And I would offer him to specifically the Red Sox, who have an overflow in the outfield. They really do. They've got James Duran, who interests me. He's got a club option that voids if he gets traded. Okay? So if he gets traded, his $8 million payroll tag for next year doesn't exist. He goes to ARB 2. Then he has ARB 3 and ARB 4. So you have control of this guy for a while, is my point. He's got some pop. He's shown it in the majors already. He's played at an all-star level for 1 year. I know he's having a down year. But Jarren Duran is one option, but he's not my number one option. He's not the guy that I really want from Boston. No, the guy I really want from Boston is Ceddanne Rafaela. Ceddanne Rafaela has been extended by the Red Sox already through the year 2031. He never makes more than $13 million a year, which is until 2031. He makes under $7 million until 2029. He can play shortstop. He can play center field. He can play outfield anywhere you want him to. I like him because he could be a solution at a lot of different spots on this team. I'd love to see it be shortstop because I think that's the hardest position that they have to fill yet. But if he can't hack it, he answers your outfield spot. He's got some pop. He's shown it. He's shown it in this league. He's shown it in the minors. I think he's a good option. That's my main centerpiece, and I packaged Bednar and Keller to get it done because the Red Sox could use both of them and fix a lot of their problems. That's my big one. The money I save from Keller, I think, partially goes to paying Ceddanne and or Jarron Duran, either one of them. I think that helps a little bit there. I try like hell to use that extra money that I allotted to see if I can extend O'Neal Cruz and make sure that I've at least locked that position up. And then you guys are probably going to hate me for this, but I say develop what's here and let it play.
You son of a gun.
And you want to know why I say that? Because I circle all the way back to something Douglas Smith said way early in the show that I said I was going to circle back to if I can find my starred comment. He heard the Tigers had only one contract that was over $35 million in total value. We have 3. We're just not getting the value, but the Tigers clearly draft and develop well. So between my deal with the Boston Red Sox, I try to offload Brian Hayes, and I play internal options such as Nick York or Nick Gonzalez or whoever. I feel like even Malcolm Nunez has an option. And I want to remind people that 2 years ago, many of the players that right now are winning for the Detroit Tigers were also helping them lose 100 games and sucking, even with Tarek Skubal on their team. I'm just going to remind you how quickly some things change when guys start to figure it out together. How close they were to Spencer Torkelson being a bust who couldn't get out of AAA. How many times their pitchers with big arms went down with Tommy John and it looked like the whole thing was damaged. Not saying the Pirates are on that same path. I'm just saying there's more potential here than I think we're seeing. And I think once Ben Cherington is out of the way and they're able to augment and coach better without his interference and his methodology, I think everything kind of starts to come together better with that other basis. And the Oneil Cruz extension is just to make you believe. You know? That's where I'm at. That's my big moves. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Tigers are a really good example of that. I think, like, my whole thing is, like, the question is does the Skeens change things for you as a fan, or what the expectation should be in those next couple years? Do you think it's worth putting more in or going quicker than waiting for the development? So to me, that's what I keep coming back with, is like, you know, if it took a couple more years, and that's if the Pirates got it right, which worries me, is that, man, I just don't know. I just don't know if I can, if I want to totally chance that. Is that fair?
Of course it's fair. Yeah.
James, what do you think about Gary's thoughts and mine?
Well, I'm proud of one thing, that none of us mentioned trading Brian Reynolds, which I have seen a lot of people say on X, on Facebook. I mean, you just don't trade. We're trying to add offense. You don't trade a good hitter. And I know where he's at right now, but Brian is a good hitter. I mean, he's proven it year after year. Yes, he'll slump at the beginning of the season, then he'll have a baby, and then he'll go on a tear. So that's why next season, vasectomy, no excuses, hot from the beginning.
That was the best. That was the most laughable moment of the show, by the way.
I mean, I would pay for it. I would do the surgery to make sure it gets done.
Wow.
Oh, my.
No, nobody needs that, James. Nobody.
I am more than happy to do whatever it takes to help the team.
You've heard of Dr. James Andrews? Let me introduce you to Dr. James Littleton.
Up until then, Martin had only disagreed with one thing he heard. The only thing that he had disagreed with in the proposals is re-signing Frazier, and he could live with him on the bench.
I mean, that's where I've got him stashed. I mean, he's helped Davis a little bit.
I love it.
I think he's going to be a future manager in this league. I really do. He's going to be a part of a team somewhere.
The point of this conversation, I'm so glad it went the way it did, because I don't think any of us made any real earth-shattering proposals or like crazy expectations that like somehow Keller and Bednar were going to get you Mike Trout in return, with the Angels eating half his salary. You know, I'm glad that we talked the way we did about it, because I think at the end of the day, we all probably proposed something that would turn it around enough to potentially make a playoff run in this league, where you only have to be a little better than 500 to do that. I think all our moves accomplish that for sure.
My team makes the playoffs.
I think adding the power you did, yeah, for sure.
I mean, Schwarber's going to hit 40 in PNC.
Of course, it's going to be 2 years before Eugenio Suarez does this again. That's just his cycle.
Well,
you know? So
I'll take it.
And he strikes out more than Jack Sawinski. But other than that,
that's why I said. That's why
I like him too.
My
though.
team is going to.
I like him too, though, James, because out of all of us, I think we always talk about the power. You're the only one that like 100% just went after the power. So I do think where you came from on that is accurate. I basically took hey, this prospect will easily hit more home runs than can Brian Hayes, and I'm not going to die from defense. You took I'm going to get great defense still, and I'm going to get a ton of home runs. That's all I'm going to get.
I mean, it adds protection for other players, for Cruz, for Reynolds. Who do you want to face? Cruz or Reynolds or Kyle Schwarber? I mean, it's Brian's going to hit some home runs, but he's not going to hit 40.
Right.
I mean,
well, Jim, we ought to get out of here, huh? You're all tired from traveling around the country and doing baseball, and
he's a gamer.
Oh man, and Gary, real quick, let me go back to your poll because we talked. I said I had a little something for.
Yeah. I'm sorry. See?
No, it's fine. You actually mentioned it. It's a good segue into it, which was it like 8.1% or something said they did not care anymore about Pirates baseball. It dawned on me recently, like, anybody that listens to this show knows how involved I am with my son and sports and baseball right now. He's playing in 2 different rec leagues, 2 different travel leagues. Like we're around baseball constantly. I'm at a field every day.
This is reminding me we got to get Travis Snyder back on the show.
Absolutely. My wife just asked about who was the guy, because she doesn't follow it like we do. Who was the guy? Because she wants help, right? Like, because we're neck deep in this right now. But it dawned on me, being around this stuff, and these are baseball people, a lot of them, and it just dawned on me the other day, as much as we're around it, how little the Pirates are talked about, mentioned, anything's worn about the Pirates. Any of the kids' favorite players aren't Pirates. And it just that is something that struck me. And it's unfortunate because this city doesn't do that with anything else. Ben plays ice hockey too, and the Penguins are everywhere. Sidney Crosby stuff's everywhere. We know what the Steelers bring to the city, and you can't be any more like plugged into baseball here locally than we are. And you don't see it, you don't hear it. These are people that love baseball. They don't talk about the Pirates. They don't wear Pirate stuff.
Yeah.
That's a shame, but that's some of the fallout from what has gone on here for far too long, and it's unfortunate. And I just thought I'd mention it when you brought up how many people said they don't care.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I loved the show. Great conversation, James. Great having you back, for real.
I really appreciate
always love
it.
having you on.
Anytime. Well, I would say anytime, but I mean, I've been working a lot of overtime. That's why I had to bail the last time. But my daughter's here for the summer, so no overtime right now. So.
All right, well, get a hold of me when you need a break from that little brat, and let's go golfing.
Oh man, she's on the couch since she's been here watching Twitter. So
we'll see.
Or not Twitter. Sorry, TikTok. That's all she does.
Oh,
I've got an 8:30 tea time in the morning. So.
Oh well, there you go, James. Good stuff.
This was great conversation tonight, guys. Seriously, it was fantastic.
Let's toss it off to our buddy Ben.
Let's go, Bucks!
Yeah.